Hey, we started on time. We
Oh my
started at the same
gosh!
time.
Hit the damn record and see
Hit
if
the
we can
damn
do.
record. See, we record something.
Hey,
Hey,
friend.
friend.
Welcome to the Unlikely Friends podcast
Where two friends abroad talk about race relations.
and what it means to us.
Yeah, and what it
What it
means to
means to
us.
us. My name is Desma.
My name is David. Pleased to meet everybody. So, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when we post a new video. So, ding, ding, baby. Ding, ding.
Yeah, and we welcome any lovely comments. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on this unlikely journey. And if
Absolutely.
you subscribe and you hit those ding dong bells, the algorithm gods will know what to do with you and your content. So
Also, if
there
you
you
are listening
go.
to us on the linear platforms, please do
Mm.
likewise. Give us a like, and also the algorithm guides will love us even more.
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun.
dun. How are
And
you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Um,
good. I'm
I just have to
surviving.
tell the truth. I'm just a little bit stressed, just a little
Oh my
bit.
gosh. Okay, why?
Because I am moving house. I have to move house soon. And everybody knows who has ever moved a house before. It
Mm,
is annoying because you have so
hmm.
much stuff that you didn't know you had. It's like, where did this come?
Yeah, yeah.
Why am I holding on to this? Where did this come from? And I
Hmm.
think my biggest problem is that I have so much, no, wrong quantitative. I have so many clothes.
Really?
Clothes that, yeah, clothes that I will never ever wear again.
Hmm.
And let's be honest, clothes that don't fit. So,
I am also guilty of that. I hang on to stuff and I've been lucky enough that my weight has not fluctuated a whole lot in my life, but it has recently because, you know, oh, I'm so sorry. Do you hear the pitter patter of the little feet? That's my dog.
I
Sorry.
do, but I
Tick tick
wasn't
tick
even
tick
paying
tick tick tick.
attention yet.
Sorry, everybody.
So, I'm
She's
used to it. I
she's
have
keeping
two
herself
cats.
busy.
So,
I know. She's keeping herself busy doing something. Um yeah, so I mean my body has changed recently. Perimenopause is so much fun. But yeah, I get it though. I hang on to those clothes like the things that I wore 10 years ago that are certainly they're not comfortably fitting right now, so I get it.
mm-mm. I mean, I have jeans, and at one point when I had to figure skinny jeans were in, and I'm like,
Mm.
bruh, you will never get your fat ass in these skinny jeans again, no matter how much sport you will do. Put them
You
in
never
the
know.
no, ma'am, no,
You're
ma'am,
like, "No."
no,
Mm.
ma'am, no, ma'am, no,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine. It's your choice. It's your choice.
I'm
It's your
like,
body, your choice.
the looser, the better. I'm not getting into no skinny jeans no more. Sorry, no, ma'am.
Listen, after COVID, I already loved flowy pants. I already loved flowy pants so much. And like, I fell in love with sweatpants. And I've never been a sweatpants person. I
Yeah.
don't like the sweatpants, the ones that have the real soft inside. I like the jersey inside.
I like jersey
Like,
inside. Mm-mm.
so it's not like you're not sweating your bucket off. I love stretchy pants. I
Mm-mm.
love stretchy
I'm
pants so
I'm I
much.
am sweatpant, sweatpant hoodie. I'm good. I even go to
Yeah.
school. Oh, I don't go to school wearing sweatpants, but I wear hoodies a lot at work. So,
I'm a
um,
preschool teacher. Luckily, they have become a lot more flexible after COVID, especially here in
yeah,
terms of our dress code. And
yeah,
so I tend to wear very, very casual things I would have never worn a few years ago because I
really,
was a professional teacher. Da, 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 da. I'm not wearing high heels to work necessarily, but I wasn't rocking jeans and sweatshirts. That's for sure. Like
right.
that was a Friday thing only.
I think COVID has changed the landscape of the professional field so
Mm,
much.
Yeah, it
I
did.
think a lot of the working regulations have changed because of COVID. I think a lot of the dress codes have changed a lot because of COVID. At my university where I work, there are still some classes that are online. They're still not face
Mm,
to face, and I don't know if it's because of
mm,
COVID or because of the earthquake, or these are just classes that just stayed online after COVID.
yeah,
They were never classes that are taught face to face, whether they were master classes or PhD classes or even second year sophomore classes. I mean, these are classes that just stayed online classes. So a lot of
yeah.
I think, especially in Turkey, I don't know about the United States, but in Turkey, the teaching landscape has changed a lot.
Mm,
So
hmm, hmm. Speaking of teachers,
yes,
listen, you told me to listen to a teacher online this week. You suggested I listen to her video or
yeah,
watch her video.
yeah,
She gives lectures. Her name is Nancy Isenberg, and she wrote the book White Trash that was published some time ago. I think probably about 10 years ago, I think. And it her lectures are really interesting. I don't feel personally confident enough to talk about what she talks about, but I will say that her lectures are very thought provoking, and I appreciate you sending them to me so that I could listen to them.
well, the reason why I sent it to you is because I watch YouTube like people watch Netflix. I just turn it on, and whatever rabbit
Yeah.
hole I fall down, that's the rabbit hole that I go down. And I had actually started watching a program whether um, Italians were considered to be white in the
Huh.
United States, or when they became white in America. And also
Yeah.
then it was like the Irish, indentured servitude, and the comparison with the Pan American slave trade, blah blah blah, yip yip yip.
Mm,
And
mm-hmm.
it just like morphed into how white people became white in the
Mm,
United States. And
mm-hmm.
that video popped up, and I'm like, wow. I said, Desma would really. And I was listening with half an ear. I have to be honest with you. I was literally
Mm,
listening with
mm-hmm.
half an ear because I was packing my living room as I was listening to, because it was playing in the
Mm,
background. And it caught my attention when she was talking about the difference between a redneck, a hillbilly, and
yeah.
whatever names you guys got going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it piqued my eye. I was like, oh my goodness. I said, I have no idea. I wonder if Desmond knows, because knowing you're from the South, growing up in the
Mm,
Appalachian area, I was like, does
mm-hmm.
she know about this? And if she does, maybe she can school me a little bit more. And that's why I sent the video to you so you
Mm.
can watch it.
I mean, the book is basically about a class in white culture, and like what class different white people are in, and how that came about, and the historical. I don't know, the history of us being British, and how we came to the U.S. and what kinds of people came to the U.S. and all of the lovely things that they gave to us.
Right.
In terms of like thinking about class structure and hierarchy and hierarchy. So, yeah, it was interesting to listen to her talk about it. I mean, I realized that there's class structure, but I think I needed to go a bit deeper, and I wouldn't mind reading her book. I'd never heard about it before, but I would
Right.
like to dive into it because I mean, she has a lot of things to say. So, I mean, again, I don't feel totally confident to talk about it fully,
Yeah.
but I think if we give people the reference, a link, maybe they want
Yeah,
to.
when I edit this video, I'll put the link in the description for everybody to watch it. So it can be like a mini homework assignment. If you want to know why I sent it to Desma, you can watch it. And if
Mm,
you have questions, please, by all means, write your question or write your comment in the comment section below. But again,
mm,
please be very mindful. Please be very respectful. Any comments that are disrespectful, mean spirited, I do delete, and I will hide you from our podcast.
oh.
Speaking of comments,
Oh dear. Oh David. And
Yes.
you called me. He left me a message last week and he said, "Hey, Desma, there's some stuff, on here, people have some things to say." I'm sensitive to that kind of thing. I don't want anybody to feel um I don't know. I don't want it. Well, but at the same time, I do. I was going to say I don't want people to feel uncomfortable, and I don't want to make people upset or anything like that. But at the same time, I do want to make people uncomfortable because these
Yes.
conversations are uncomfortable, and they're uncomfortable for us to talk about, and they're uncomfortable to listen to, and they're uncomfortable to process. Maybe we should have just called this podcast "Uncomfortable Friends."
It's never
But
too late to rebrand, so
listen, no matter how uncomfortable you are, it is still wildly important
yeah,
to listen and talk. So,
exactly.
sorry.
So, no, you had to get that. No, I completely respect that. You had to get that out of your system, and that's healthy. That's absolutely fine. But there were some comments about a segment that I had done with you about a firefighter a white
Yeah.
retiring firefighter who had made some confessions to a young black man about being a firefighter back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, that era. Um, uh, how lots of black families were not saved or were
Right.
not
Yeah, they weren't rescued.
made a priority. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, just to let my audience know, and I'm looking directly in the camera, when I tell stories like this, I am not telling stories for the sake of telling stories. I'm telling stories like that because they are true. And anytime that I do give a story like that and I put it on the interwebs, I know that people are going to come for me. So I know that my ducks have to be in a row. And when
Mm,
I do things like that, I have already researched to see if this is true or not. So
right.
people calling me a liar on stage saying that I made it up just for clicks, no, ma'am. No, sir. I have the facts. Facts do not care about your feelings. And right now, I'm going to give you the facts. Okay? Now,
Please.
there was
I'm here
a
for that.
there was a study done by the CPSC, which stands
Hmm.
for the Consumer Product Safety Commission, which is a branch of the United States government.
Okay.
If you don't know who they are, I will read from Wikipedia who they are so that you are as informed as I am.
Got it.
The CPSC is an independent agency of the United States government. The CPSC seeks to promote the safety of consumer products by addressing unreasonable risks of injury through coordinating recalls, evaluating products that are the subject of consumer complaints or industry reports, etc. Developing uniform safety standards, some mandatory, some through a voluntary standard process, and conducting research into product illness and injury. Having said that,
Okay.
the statistics that I pulled up for this particular story about the firefighter
Mm-hmm.
the uh, from that clip is
Mm-hmm.
based on the CPSC staff estimates for 2016 through 2018. There were about 360,000 home fires every year, leading to roughly 2,400 deaths. In addition, it is estimated that there are nearly 10,400 injuries per year. Research also shows that across all races, African Americans have the highest rates of fire deaths and injuries, nearly twice the overall death rate, and more than twice the overall injury rate. According to the
Twice.
CPSC's Residential Fire Loss Estimates report, although African Americans only represent 13% of the population, they represent an estimated 24% of
Mhm.
home fire deaths and 27% of home fire injuries. Compared to their share of the population, African Americans were roughly twice as likely to be killed or injured in a home fire in 2017 and through 2011 as the overall population. The difference was even greater for children and older adults. The home fire death rate for African American children under 15, 14.6 deaths per million population, was four times the rate of 3.5 for white children the same age. African
What?
American adults 65 and older had a home fire death rate of 56.3 deaths per million, three times the 17.7 rate of white older adults. From a broader structural perspective, another way public officials can target the disparity in fire related deaths heightened by the Commission's report is by diversifying local fire departments. Based on 2019 workforce
Mm.
statistics from the Data USA, more than 95% of firefighters were male and just under 80% were white and non Hispanic. That means that firefighters were letting black people die. Facts do not care about your feelings. Do not come for me if you do not have the facts. I do.
I that is that well, there are a lot of things that surprise me about our conversations. Like I'm always the one that's like, oh, well, that's not a surprise. Of course, people are awful. Like
Yes, people are
but
awful.
that's huge. I really I had no idea
Hmm.
that that was such an issue.
Yes, black people or African Americans, let's say, only make up 13% of America's population,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
24% more likely to die in a house fire.
To die.
Make that
I
make sense. When somebody calls
Yeah,
me
it
a liar,
doesn't.
make that make
Yeah,
sense.
it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I I'd like to know the reason why. I think I already know the reason why. But I'd like to know, due to is it due to where the communities are? Is it due to
No, I don't think that has any
I
role.
mean, I'm just sitting here spitballing because
Yeah.
I there's no reason other than the reason that you and I both know.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think I'm just trying to like work it out in my head.
And that's
Oh my
fine. I mean, I
gosh.
have absolutely no druthers entertaining that. But when someone in our comment section out and out calls me a
Mm,
liar and then calls
right. Well,
one person
that's
called me a black liar, I was like,
whoa. Are you serious? See, here's the
yeah,
thing. I don't like to read these comments because it does it. I don't want. I don't like to read upsetting things.
yeah.
I'm sensitive,
And that's fine.
but
I
at the
have a
same
my
time,
skin is a little bit thicker than yours. I'll read them.
but at the same time, I do want people to be uncomfortable because these things are uncomfortable. Those facts are not comfortable.
No, and like I
Like
said,
that's
facts don't care about your
uncomfortable.
feelings.
Yeah,
Facts don't care
yeah.
about your feelings.
That's
If
the
your
theme of our
feelings
podcast today.
that if your if your feelings are hurt,
Mm.
then
Investigate your feelings.
yeah, sorry, not sorry. I mean, because there are so many things that black people, and black and brown people, I should say, black and brown people, or people who are minority, there are so many things that we had to go through in this
Yeah,
country because our skin isn't white. And
right.
then when a mirror is shown to you, it's like, this is how you are, you
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
butt hurt. It's like, please, it's okay for you to dish it out, but you can't take it. Stop.
Right,
Please, just
right,
stop.
right, right, right. Oh, yeah. Um,
I was doing a musical.
mm,
It was actually um, chorus line, and I played the
okay.
only black role that there was, Richie. Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Anyway, um, it was literally the night of the performance, and
Okay.
the girl who was doing the choreography had not choreographed my number, and we were performing that night.
What?
Yes.
Okay, for anybody that doesn't have any idea or theatrical experience, typically what happens is you rehearse a show, you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse for months ahead, and then you do the show. And with dance rehearsals, they're very technical and they take a long time because dances are technical and they
Yep.
take a while to learn, as does music and all of that, and they're all separate. So typically, when you would have a show, you would definitely already know your dance the day of the performance. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to explain that.
No,
Okay.
explain, explain.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the interesting thing was is that my number that I had to perform was called "Give Me the Ball" or "Give Me the Ball."
Mhm.
She had done the background choreography for the rest of the cast, but she had not choreographed what I should do in the number.
Okay.
And the night of the show, I said to him, like, you still have not given me anything what I can do on stage tonight.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she looked at me straight in my face and she says, "Do I look darker than you?"
Huh? Oh,
Because I
oh.
asked her to
What?
choreograph something for me. I says, "Can you choreograph something for me? Do I look darker than you?"
On what planet is that acceptable?
One of the girls, and I said, "Oh, really? Oh, really?" And I went to the director. I says, and
Oh
it was the
my
night of the
God.
performance. I said to him, I said, "Find a new Richie now." And I went back.
Stop.
I ran. Not I
Stop.
didn't ran. I went back to the dressing room. I took off my costume. He came running behind me.
Oh
He was like, "No, don't." He says, "You can't, you can't." I says, "Yes, I can." And I explained to him what happened. And there was a girl who was speaking to the
my God.
choreographer. She was like, "I can't believe that you just said that to him." She says, "Do you know how
Yeah.
racist that is?" And the girl was like, "Oh, it's not racist. It's not racist. That's just something we say. It's not racist." And the girl was like, "Oh my God." Even the girl, she
Mm,
was a chorus member. She was like,
who
"I'm
who
leaving."
says that? Your
Yeah.
racist grandfather?
Yeah. She was like, the girl was like, "I'm leaving. I'm
Okay.
with David. I'm leaving." And then another person said, "I'm out of here. I can't believe that this girl just said that to him." And I said to
Yeah.
everybody else, says, "Look, this is your show. You do your show. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
And the director went ballistic on this girl. And I don't even remember
Well,
her
somebody
name,
needed to.
but she came back and
Golly.
she came back to me. I was in the dressing room. I was putting everything in my bag. I was fuming. And she came back to me. She was in tears. She was like, "I am so sorry. I had no idea. And I didn't realize. But I was just like saying, it's just something that." I was like, "No, sis.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. You pack that away. You
No.
pack that away. You take this
No.
suitcase, you put those tears inside. I don't want to hear that crap.
No, I don't. I said to her, I says, "Don't come here with your alligator tears now." I says, because
Yeah.
because everybody is yelling at you because you said something so unbelievably racist to me. I
That was
says, "I do
ugly.
not have to accept your apology." And she's like, "No, come on, we can do it. We can choreograph something now." I says, "It is 10 minutes to the show. How are we going to choreograph something? How?" She was like, "Oh, come on, come on." She says, "Please." She says, "Please, just come on, come on." And one of the girls, she said
Mm,
to me, she leaned over to me. She says, "David, you won. Just learn the choreography." And I looked at her. I says, "No, I didn't win.
yeah.
I did
And that's
not
not
win."
about winning anything.
And it's not about winning, right? It's not about
That's
winning.
that's about somebody that needs to understand the power
Yeah.
of those words.
And
That's just ugly.
I I said to her, I says, I don't even want you to choreograph anything for me. The girl who spoke to me, who said to me, she says, you won. I said to her, I says, do you know how to choreograph for this show?
Mm,
And she says, yeah, I did the show before. I says, then show me some things that I can do on stage. And I basically choreographed my own number on stage
mm,
on the fly.
hmm.
And the
Right.
girl, she wouldn't even look at me for the rest of the run. She wouldn't even, if I was sitting in a room, she would not even come into that room because nobody wanted her around after she made that comment, except one of the guys that she was having a relationship with, who was like 3 years her junior. Anyway, that was actually the second time in my life where I experienced racism.
Gosh. Oh, so okay. So this is a good question. Like,
Yeah.
when did you experience that? Like,
Mm.
what? So that's one time.
There
What?
was one time
When?
before
Yeah.
that.
When do you remember? What was your first experience like as a kid? Like, when do you remember being like, oh, my skin is this color?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
when did that occur to you?
I remember that day as if it were yesterday. And it was very ironic because my mother and father sat us all down when we were in um, grammar school and said, look,
Hmm.
you are little black children. You are not white children. You are going to be treated and talked to differently. My parents made
Hmm.
us extremely aware of the
Hmm.
differences between white folks and black folks. And,
Hmm.
and not in a racist way, but a more of a survival way. It's like, look, you are not
Yeah,
going
that
to be
it's
treated
different.
like them. It's just not how it's going to be. And
Hmm.
we had to accept that. It's just the way it is. We had to accept it. Anyway, I didn't realize what they were talking about. It didn't really, for me, I don't know why I'm a slow learner, I suppose. It didn't internalize for me until one day
Mm,
when we were at school. We were in the cafeteria and I was in front of one of the girls who I thought we weren't friends, but I thought we were cool. I didn't have anything against her. She didn't have any, I didn't think that she had anything against me.
mhm.
And it was pizza day, and I took the last slice of the pepperoni pizza, and it was only like cheese pizza with mushrooms. I hate mushrooms. Cheese and mushroom pizza left. And she yelled at me. She says, don't take that pizza. I'm like, why? I says, I don't like mushrooms. And I took the pizza, and she said, and I turned around, and the lunch lady said, how dare you? And it didn't dawn on me.
Holy bananas. How old were you?
Maybe grammar school, like maybe 9 or 10, maybe a bit younger.
Gah.
She screamed it. She didn't say it, she screamed it.
Mm.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, she said
Did
that to
you,
me?
yeah, did you know, like, had you ever heard anybody use it in that kind of
No, no. I
way?
had only ever
Yeah.
heard it as a black person would hear it within our community as a term of
Right, right,
endearment.
right,
But
right.
when somebody calls you that derogatory,
Yeah,
it hits different. And I was so shocked. I was like,
yeah. Oof.
uh,
Yeah.
uh. I was so shocked. And the lunchroom lady. She was like, how dare you? She says, that's the most disgusting thing. And she
Well,
pulled her
bravo to
out.
her.
Yeah, she pulled her out of the line. She says, it was a Spanish woman. She says, you're going to go to the principal right now. I can't do a Spanish accent. I shouldn't
Wow.
even do that. And the little girl was like, why? He took the last piece. She was like, and I was saying to myself, I thought she was a friend of mine.
Yeah, and like, why be so intense, Becky? Calm
Yeah.
down. It's just pizza. Jeez.
Yeah, it was just pizza. That was just it.
But that's a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. That's not a
Absolutely.
behavior that just comes naturally to anybody. Like, and that word is definitely a learned word. when
Uh,
it comes with that much
I mean, and
vitriol, you
who
know,
in
like
grammar school knows to use that word?
only if
Who?
you've heard it.
Right.
Yeah.
Who in grammar school knows to use that word? Unless
If
you've
your
heard it
family or
being
your
thrown
friends
around
or
at
whatever.
home.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So
Hmm.
the that was the first time. The second time it was racism was in that musical, and then the third time
Hmm.
no, I'm lying. That was the third time I had experience. The second time was before that. I was in high school, and my best friend in high school, his name was, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a little Jewish boy. He was 1 year behind me, but
Hmm.
we really had a very good friendship because we were both singers. He was a baritone, I was a tenor, and we liked to sing together. And we were in state chorus together and all that good stuff. And uh, we had to go to rehearsal one day. So the plan was my parents would take us to rehearsal, and his parents would pick us up from rehearsal and bring us back home. So his parents picked us up, piled us into the car, and I don't know what exactly or who was at fault, but somebody cut us off, and clearly it was a black man. And the father, slammed on the horn, and he said, "You," he says, "You." And then he realized what he said,
Oh
and he
my gosh,
looked
and that
up.
you were in the car.
Yes, and he
Oh my
looked up in his rearview mirror. He
God.
says, "He says, David, no, not you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I
What
said
do
to him,
you
I
mean,
says,
not me?
and I said to him, I says, "I don't know what that means, but can you drop me off here, please?"
You knew what that meant.
Of course, I knew what that meant, but I just said, "Can you
You
drop me
didn't
off
want
here?"
to,
Yeah,
yeah. Ugh,
because my best friend was in the car, and my best friend was so embarrassed. And
yeah.
the what made it even worse was that they were Jewish.
Yeah. Weird.
I mean, yarmulke wearing Jews.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
that deserves a whole conversation in itself. But
But that was the
like,
second time I experienced racism.
wow. Wow. I I mean, obviously I don't really know. I certainly don't know what it feels like in that way. But I know what it feels like to be a bit of a minority. And my only experience with that is, or my first experience with that would be like I went to a school, an elementary school where there were two black kids, and that was it. It was like a family in rural South Carolina. People were tobacco farmers, and like, it's a farming community. And then some zoning things happened with the school district in the years that I was in elementary school. And so when I went to middle school, it was uh, it was like you know this community and this community came together, and then they had a school together. And it was my first experience being around so many peers that didn't look like me, and it was interesting. And I remember like a couple of classes being like, golly, I don't see any faces that look like mine. Like, it was, I felt like a bit of a minority, but I know certainly that's not, I'm not
Yeah.
making a comparison, but I felt different. And
Yeah.
it was a quite a culture shock, because I didn't know. I was just so naive, and I'd not been around a lot of black people in my little babyhood. I didn't know anything.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was a weird experience. Right, let's do our dancing out. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you for
Friend,
chatting with me today.
thank you for chatting with me today.
It was so nice to hang out.
Take your time
And
out of your beautiful day. Well, I wouldn't say it's beautiful, but
I know today's
Anyway,
kind of yuck in Istanbul, but it was lovely talking to you anyway. And thank you so
thank
much for
you.
listening to Unlikely Friends. We're so glad that you joined us on this unlikely journey.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And also hit the notification bell so that you know when we post up a
Ding,
new video.
ding,
Ding, ding, baby, ding, ding.
ding.
And please like the video so that the algorithm gods know that we are doing a good job. Hit the like button. Hit it!
The and your content, yeah, your content will just they'll know exactly what you want to listen to. That's the beauty
Exactly.
about the algorithm gods. That's
Yes.
what they
And
do.
if you're watching on linear platform, please do the same thing. Give us a like. You can probably share and subscribe. We're on Spotify as well. So,
Yeah, it's so
yeah.
nice. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, friends.
Okay, see you later, friend.
Bye.
Bye. Peace.
Okay.
Yeah.